This week on Unscripted, Raw and SmackDown ratings dropped huge over last week. Plus, WWE trying to convince their talent their career would be over if they leave WWE. And All Out sells out in just minutes. Just minutes. How fast was it? Did it beat All In last year? Did it beat Double or Nothing? We'll talk about that today. This and more this week on episode 74 of Unscripted for June 15th, 2019. What is going on, everybody? It's the Frost, and we're here for episode 74 for Unscripted for June 15th, 2019. This week is a really dead week for news. There was not much going on for WWE at all this week, or AEW, outside of All In 2, pretty much, All Out, which tickets went on sale yesterday and are already gone. So, really not much going on. I know they did have a Road to Fighter Fest. We have a new signing. We have a couple new matches. Also, a Being the Elite this week, a tag team got a new name with the Super Smash Brothers no longer being the Super Smash Brothers. They are now the Dark Order, which anybody knew that the Super Smash Brothers name would not have been allowed by Nintendo, who owns that name. Which, quite honestly, is one of the cool things about the independent scene is that you could go to your local indie show and your local indie, like a local indie talent could rip off a superstar from WWE. They could use a name like the Super Smash Brothers. They can even use music that is copyrighted, because unless it's like one of the bigger indies, they're not going to have like a Nintendo or someone go after a talent if they're in the small indie scene because they're nobody. But with them coming to AEW, they had to change their name, and the Dark Order, good enough. It's a good name. It's not one of those like, oh, the Dark Order, that's terrible. No, it's a good name. I think it's going to do well for them. Can't wait to see what they do. I'm hoping they will be at Fight for the Fallen. They are not going to be at Fyter Fest, unfortunately. So I don't know when we're going to see the Dark Order in action. I haven't seen the former Super Smash Brothers wrestle whatsoever, so we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Well, SmackDown and NXT this week were NXT was a good show, and it always beats Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live every single week. There has never been a week coming out of Raw, SmackDown, NXT since the WWE Network came to be that people can go back and say Raw was the best show or SmackDown was the best show for the week if you count Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. It's always NXT, even on their off weeks. Even when they have a show, which was from Maryland this week or last week, where they had their Aftermath show from the latest TakeOver, they always have a better show than what you see on Raw and SmackDown. Raw, it's so easy to beat because it's such a boring show. But Vince McMahon goes, oh, it's just some good shit. This whole show is good shit. And it's not. Raw has not been a good show in years. Since they went to the 3-hour format permanently. Of course, as we know, before they went completely 3 hours. When there was a special event, they had those 3-hour shows every once in a while. But when they decided, or USA decided, we want you to go to 3 hours, or you're mandatory to use a 3-hour time for us. They decided, well, we're going to go to 3 hours permanently, and we're going to just do that. And the rate, it's gone down ever since. There was a time where the third hour for the first few weeks probably was the highest rated hour of the show, but that is clearly not the case, with this Monday Night Raw had the worst ratings non-holiday ever. This is a theme last year and this year. The last 2 years, I don't even think 2017's ratings ever came close to a record low, but 2018 and 2019 have had record lows a lot. There was 5 or 6 weeks in a row that last year, towards the end of the year, that they had the worst ratings week after week after week after week of all time. And when we get to that lull, which is coming after SummerSlam, I think we're going to have those records ratings again, week after week after week after week. SmackDown is going to suffer overall for the simple fact is they're going to Fox. And Fox is going to have them say they're going to have a limit that they cannot go below this set of ratings. They have to be at a 3. I believe Fox wants them at a 3. If they are not at a 3, every single week for a couple of weeks straight, Fox is going to call them up and like get the ratings up, or we're going to cancel SmackDown, and that'll be that. And I can't wait till we get to Fox NFL Thursday Night Football, or Fox NFL Sunday, and I want to hear how these commentators go out there and hype SmackDown, because I'm pretty sure they're going to bash, like they'll probably throw small jabs into SmackDown left and right, and I'll just sit there and be like, yeah, well, that's funny, that's fun, yeah. Raw's episode features fallout from Super Showdown with Kevin Owens versus Universal Champion Seth Rollins. In the main event, drew an average of 2.125, according to show Daily Buzz. This is down from last week's 2.504 million viewers. Well, no Brock Lesnar, no tease of The Undertaker, no Roman Reigns, and almost no wrestling. Shane McMahon for 30 fucking minutes, it felt like, on the microphone. SmackDown had the same problem. 30 minutes of Shane McMahon. This is the lowest non-holiday Raw viewership in history. The only show to draw lower numbers were the 2018 New Year's Eve and 2018 Christmas Eve taped editions of Raw, which drew 1.968 million and 1.775 million viewers respectively. This show's first hour drew 2.380, which is actually up from last week's first hour, which was 2.308. So they went up a little bit in the first hour, which the first hour. And here's the thing, WWE needs to start capitalizing on that first hour to try and give us a reason to stay. Because, yes, the NBA Finals ended on Thursday. Congratulations to the Toronto Raptors. Well deserved. Kawhi Leonard did what he could to help that team get to a thing. But, that's over. Football's not too far off. They have between now and the time football season starts to get this shit together. The first hour is always the best drawing hour for Monday Night Raw. They need to start giving us, when you have Seth Rollins kick off the show and have Baron Corbin come out immediately, half the crowd goes, half the home audience is like, I'm done, I'm tapped out, I'm done. I'm gonna go watch NBA Countdown and wait for the Raptors Warriors game to start for me to be, ready for that game. Baron Corbin does not draw ratings, and the way you have Baron Corbin every single week. This is the one problem with the wild card rule that everybody should be aware of. Overexposure. We see Drew McIntyre twice a week. Shane McMahon twice a week. Except for this week, Roman Reigns twice a week. Enough of it. You don't have to have the same superstars on your TV every single week. One thing I'm hoping with AEW is if Jericho wins the title at All Out, Jericho comes on the first episode because he's the champ. We don't see Jericho for another 3 weeks. This is what's great about NXT. NXT gives us, Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole. They're fighting for the NXT Championship going into TakeOver 25. We saw them a little bit more, but you didn't see Matt Riddle every week. You didn't see the Velveteen Dream every week. You didn't see the rest of the Undisputed Era every single week. You saw this past week on NXT, we had the tag team match between the Undisputed Era and Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan. You didn't see the Street Profits because this show was taped before TakeOver, so they wouldn't have had their tag team titles. You didn't see Adam Cole because he was the NXT champion and the NXT Championship. This was taped beforehand. You didn't see Johnny Gargano on this episode. You didn't see Mia Yim and Bianca Belair. You didn't see all these superstars that you had seen in the last week. You have Damian Priest making his debut next week. You're not going to see him every single week. Because they know that if you show a superstar more than once, multiple weeks over week, you're overexposing them to where people aren't going to care. So NXT treats their superstars like superstars. WWE main roster treats their superstars like fucking toys. Speaking of the second hour from this week drew a 2.086. Major drop right there, which is down from last week's 2.558. In the final hour drew, and this is huge, 1.909. Last week's drew 2.348, which was actually the highest rated, like the second highest rated hour of the week. But of course, this is the second lowest third hour drop in show history, behind the April 29th episode that drew 1.898 million viewers in the final hour. WWE is going to be hurting, and football season is just around the corner. And the fact that WWE just continues to insult their intelligence, and what might be happening coming into Extreme Rules or SummerSlam, things are going to get bad, and this is just going to kill the company completely. The raw viewership was number 6 and all that stuff. Who really cares about that? But yes, Monday Night Raw did a terrible rating. Monday Night Raw is going to be taking a terrible rating. Yes, the NBA Finals game from the Raptors and the Warriors drew 18.217 million viewers. Of course, the beginning of that game was the return of Kevin Durant from after a 2-month absence, pretty much, from the NBA Finals, a month and a half at least. Also, it was, if the Warriors won, they would go back to Oracle, which they did, even though KD ruptured his Achilles. That was a do-or-die game for Golden State, and they won that game. Unfortunately, due to Klay Thompson tearing his ACL, they lost last night, even though, not last night, but this past Thursday. Even though this past Monday was the last game for the season against the WWE, so WWE has a few weeks to breathe a sigh of relief. Will the ratings improve? Probably a little bit, but it's not going to be. They're not going to go from a 1.898 million viewers final hour to like a 3.0 final hour. It's just not going to happen. Ratings are down overall, and they cannot blame. Oh, it's the NBA, it's the Stanley Cup, it's this, it's that. No, it's your incompetence as a business to not give anybody what they want. You just think that when you have Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, Shane McMahon, and Vince McMahon come out on Monday Night Raw last year and make Baron Corbin come out and pretty much blame him for the ratings drop. He's the reason ratings are bad. You're telling the audience this guy's the reason for ratings drops. When he's on your TV, don't watch because he kills the ratings. So what do? You push this guy to the fucking moon. You give him shot after shot, main event after main event of Monday Night Raw. He's going to probably be main eventing Stomping Grounds with Seth Rollins later next week, which, oh boy, will we talk about Stomping Grounds later. They aren't doing too good when it comes to their ticket sales, and we're going to flash this up for a second. See? Oh, if you saw it, you missed it. We'll show it later. But their ratings are not, their ticket sales are not doing good. But AEW sold out the Sears Center in Chicago, Illinois in no time. But yet WWE can't sell out Stomping Grounds, and I wonder why. What we got here also? Let's see, Monday Night Raw. No, Roman wasn't on either show, which I found kind of peculiar. It's been like the wild card rule. The wild card rule, 95% of the time, was set up for Roman Reigns to be on both shows because Fox wants stars, USA wants stars. WWE, you have May, June, July, August, September, and that's 5 months. You have 5 months. You could build 2 or 3 stars for both shows, and they refuse to do so. They refuse. So, half the roster gets screwed. Buddy Murphy could be a fucking star for SmackDown Live. Cedric Alexander could be a star for Monday Night Raw. Why aren't they being used? And Buddy Murphy has been missing in action since he was moved from 205 Live. Chad Gable wants to wrestle, yet he only gets to wrestle on 205 Live, which he went to this week. It's just, I don't know. Raw sucked this week. More Shane on both shows, as you know. Shane McMahon. Everyone's pushing. Everyone, and it's not 100% fact, or even out there. But WrestleVotes said something about it. They talked to a source, and that source speculated that The payoff for Shane McMahon and why he's getting so much TV time is that he is going to be the one to beat Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship. Two things on this. One, this would be the stupidest thing they ever did. Two, I want to actually see this happen because I want to see what the reaction is to the wrestling community. I don't want to see it happen in the long run because that's just going to ruin WWE completely outside of NXT. But I do want to see it because I want to see how bad the ratings drop, how bad the stock drops, how bad the network subscribers unsubscribe, which a lot of people are already saying they're going to unsubscribe in October, which in my opinion, if there's anything that you do for WWE, keep the network, drop SmackDown and Raw. Watch NXT. Watch NXT UK. There's your wrestling fill. If you want to do this, if you want to have any type of WWE fill, watch NXT because that's where you're going to get your good wrestling. Watch NXT, AEW when it starts in fall, in October, and NXT UK. Those are your three wrestling for the week. AEW, that'd be 4 hours. That's 4 hours of wrestling right there. Takeover, and that's that. You don't have to, in the NXT UK Takeover in August when you want to watch that. If you don't want to watch WWE, don't watch the main shows. Those ratings will go down. Fox will cancel SmackDown in no time. I honestly don't think by this time next year SmackDown will exist. USA, the only reason they went to Fox is because USA was not willing to give them the same amount of money they were going to give them for Monday Night Raw. I don't know why. Who thought that was a good idea? But they made the biggest mistake I think Vince McMahon could ever make by going to Fox. Fox cuts shows if the ratings start to dip at all. Like, oh, this show's starting to lose its ratings. It might be a little bit, but we're going to axe it. Unless the ratings go up, it's not doing what we want it to do. Let's axe the show. SmackDown Live went to on a night in which Raw posted following a night in which Raw posted record low non-holiday ratings. SmackDown helped slightly better, dropping just 4% from last week, at an average of 1.93 million viewers. It was still among the lowest viewership total for SmackDown since moving to Tuesday nights. I think it was the fourth lowest. But several episodes in the last few months have had lower numbers. SmackDown retained 90% of Monday Night Raw's numbers, a slightly better percentage than usual, which likely shows the impact that the Game 5 of the NBA Finals had on Raw's rating. SmackDown had no major sports competition and finished 8th for the night in terms of total cable viewerships, trailing only news-related programming. The show did top the 18-49 demo with a 0.6 rating. John Cena hosted the Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, averaged 836,000 views, and Nickelodeon with an 0.22 rating with the 1849 demo. Year over year, SmackDown was down 12%. That is the big thing. They were down 12%. SmackDown, the first time in a month that the show has been a double-digit decline. And they had zero sports competition. Zero. I believe the Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals was on Wednesday, I believe, or it was Monday. Not Monday. I think it was either Sunday this past Sunday, or Wednesday. But yeah, SmackDown had zero competition from anything, and they were down 12% from last year. That just shows you that the things that are happening on Monday Night Raw are drastically hurting SmackDown Live. SmackDown, at one time, was the safe haven for main roster wrestling, main roster TV. Monday Night Raw was shit from the end of from August 2016 until I'm going to say April of 2017. SmackDown Live was the place to go if you wanted to watch wrestling on the main roster. It was the second best show overall. It was rivaling NXT a little bit, but NXT was always better. NXT is always better. It was a hit or miss show sometimes, but it was always better than Monday Night Raw. Now both of these shows, you can't tell the difference. It's like having the Usos stand in front of you with the shirt, with neither one of them wearing a shirt, and trying to tell which one's the difference. That's how SmackDown Live and Raw feel. It's like having the Bella Twins pre-surgery for Nikki Bella, I believe, stand in front of you and tell you which one's the difference. It's just how it goes. SmackDown Raw, with this wildcard rule, it's hurting both Raw and SmackDown Live. And using the same stars over and over and over again is not helping. He returned on SmackDown Live. Good for him. I really could care less. The show was boring overall. Even a 6-man tag match with the New Day versus the Zayn and Owens, and it should have been me. It should have been me. Dolph Ziggler, yeah, don't care. It was a good match, I guess, but it's just like I've seen better. Rey Mysterio and Andrade, almost put on better matches earlier this year. Ollie and I believe it was and O'Brien had a match earlier this year that was better than what we saw this week. Wrestling is starting to diminish too. Shane McMahon having 30-minute promo time on both shows is just ridiculous. NXT was from Maryland. Oh wait, before we go to NXT, I forgot. The tag team champions on SmackDown were coming out to have a tag team title, quote-unquote, unification match with a team called the Yolo County Tag Team Champions. And these boys were holding cardboard championships. This was a troll to WWE fans. If anyone doesn't remember what YOLO means, it means you only live once. That's what that was. That was a troll to WWE fans, like, oh, they're jokes outside of WWE. They are, if you ain't WWE, you're not shit. The good shit is here in WWE. Everything else is a joke. And clearly that's not the case. We're going to get into that a little bit later with what Stephanie McMahon was doing pre-NXT tapings this week, where she gave a quote-unquote pep talk to the NXT talent. NXT, of course, was from Maryland. I don't remember exactly where in Maryland, but it was from a house show that happened about a week or two before TakeOver in New York, or TakeOver 25. Gulak and Kushida in a wonderful submission match. And Undisputed Era versus Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch. I forgot to mention on my review for NXT that Bobby Fish came out in a sling, which ties into the reason why he came out in a sling during the Undisputed Era's celebration of Adam Cole winning the title at NXT TakeOver 25, because this show was taped before TakeOver. And it shows that Triple H remembers, hey, we taped Bobby Fish in a sling, so we're gonna have Bobby Fish come out after his ladder match in a sling. So nice little bit of continuity there on NXT. Something you really don't see on main roster television. Candice LeRae and Io Shirai took on Shayna Baszler and Jessamyn Duke and Marina Shafir. Two still aren't where I think they should really be getting TV time. I know they are Shayna Baszler's best friends, but it's just they are not where I think they should be. Like, I think they're just taking up TV time that should be going to somebody else or two others. I don't know who those two others are, but it feels like they're just getting that TV time because they're Shayna's friends, and I think they need to be on the Performance Center a little bit longer. They're not there yet. Remember, these are the two women that, when they were in that 6-woman tag match earlier this year with Shayna Baszler versus Io Shirai, Kairi Sane, I believe it was. Yeah, Kairi Sane, Io Shirai, and Bianca Belair. When they were in the match, the crowd in Full Sail was chanting, please tag Shayna and you can't wrestle. So, they're improving, but they're just not there yet. Again, Kushida and Gulak had an awesome match. I do like these guys. I would love to see these guys have an Iron Man, a submission match, like a 30-minute Iron Man submission only match or something like that. Those two would probably put on a hell of a match. Next week, because this past Wednesday and Thursday they went to Full Sail and they taped 8 episodes. 8 episodes, and the only thing that we know coming out of those tapings from our show this past Wednesday, is that Damian Priest will make his debut next week, and in 2 weeks from this past Wednesday, Shayna Baszler, Io Shirai cage match. I am not read the spoilers, but I heard this is one of the best matches of the year. I cannot wait. So, yeah, NXT, not a bad show. It wasn't a A+ show. It wasn't NXT has never had a below a C+. I'm going to say that right now. Anybody who does, I know Cultaholic does a graded thing, but if anyone does a grade of NXT and you grade it below a C+, you are a fucking idiot. NXT always brings the fire. Now, I said I was going to do this, and I'm going to do this now. I have compiled, and I went to Wikipedia, because, you know, that's the place to find all your information, and I went to the list of WWE's personnel page, which lists every single superstar and personnel in WWE, from superstars to referees to women's wrestlers to managers to commentators to backstage personnel, as many as they have. And I have compiled those who have not been on Raw or SmackDown in wrestling capacity or storyline capacity and do not count the 24/7 championship. This is pathetic, and this is depressing, and this is what sucks about the wildcard rule. Akam, Cedric Alexander, EC3. There is actually, I'm going to say this, there is actually somebody who put a picture, small video up on Twitter of EC3 doing his entrance, his beginning of his entrance, where he points to his letters in NXT, compared to what he, like when he was in NXT last year, compared to what he does on Main Event. And in the NXT version, he looks hyped, he looks ready to go out there and kick some ass. And then you look at the Main Event one from a recent episode of Main Event, and the guy looks defeated. He looks depressed. He looks like he's not even enthused to put his hands up to do the EC3. He's just so depressed. Like, the motivation is gone. The guy who was it's like it's two different guys in these pictures, and it's just fucking sad. Heath Slater, Hanson, Carl Anderson, Connor, Leo Rush, which we'll talk about him later, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson are going to be leaving in about September. I could see them showing up in AEW. I could also see them possibly going to Ring of Honor, maybe go back to New Japan, probably be in Ring of Honor and work New Japan American shows. I know Carl Anderson is happy to be in the United States. I don't know much about Luke Gallows with me, but yeah. Mojo Rawley with his paints. Mojo Rawley. No Way Jose, who really cares? Razor, Robert Roode, who had his mustache for a bit, and now it's gone. His evil genius mustache is gone. Titus O'Neil, Victor. That's all the men from Monday Night Raw. Alicia Fox, Dana Brooke, Naomi, Natalya, Sarah Logan, Sasha Banks, we know why she's gone, and Tamina. That's all a Monday Night Raw. That's horrible. SmackDown. Bo Dallas, Buddy Murphy, Chad Gable, Curtis Axel, Apollo Crews, I guess so too. Epico, Primo, Finn Balor, Harper. We know why Harper's not there. Finn Balor is the Intercontinental Champion and has only been seen on Super Showdown since Money in the Bank. Where the hell is the Intercontinental Champion? Randy Orton, Rowan. I'm sorry, Rowe. I forgot to mention Rowe for the Viking Raiders. Shelton Benjamin, Rusev, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Sin Cara. Wow, that's a lot of guys right there. The women, Asuka, Kairi Sane, Lana, Liv Morgan, and Ember Moon. Ember Moon has only been seen reading a book or playing a Nintendo Switch before Sonya Deville broke her Nintendo Switch Joy-Con in her Nintendo Switch. And if that was a legit Nintendo Switch and it was broken, Sonya Deville, you suck. That is BS. So that is a lot. And yes, you can put Aleister Black in there too, because he's only been sitting in a room asking for somebody to pick a fight with him. I said this on Tuesday. Aleister, why aren't you going out and picking a fight with somebody yourself? Have a match happen. Have it, lights go out. Lights come back on. Black Master, whoever you want to pick a fight with. Why are you waiting around for someone to pick a fight with you? I want to know this. Why are you trying to pick a fight with somebody else instead of like having someone pick a fight with you instead of you picking a fight with somebody else? What the hell, man? What the hell? Get out there and wrestle. Why take Buddy Murphy and Cedric Alexander from 205 Live if you were never going to fucking use them? These guys were two of the best on 205 Live since Mustafa Ali left and went to main roster. Give these guys a chance to wrestle. And no, I don't mean main event. Main event doesn't count towards anything. Speaking of Aleister Black says main roster call-up was last minute decision. Get to that in a second. The women's division is definitely hurt. This is your women's division. The women's division is Dana Brooke. The women's division is not being used. Alicia Fox, Dana Brooke, Naomi, Natalya, Sarah Logan, Sasha Banks, Tamina, Asuka, Ember Moon, Kairi Sane, Lana, Liv Morgan. That is 12 women. 12 women who don't see TV time. They really expect us to see a women's tag team division even be a thing? You really expect us to see them having 2 women's championships? This wild card rule has ruined the entire brand split. Throw the brand split, merge the titles. I would love to see Bayley and at SummerSlam. If you want to stretch this to SummerSlam, fine. But at SummerSlam, Bayley versus Becky Lynch for the undisputed women's championship. That's got money all over it. I don't care what anyone in WWE thinks. That has money all over it. But of course they'll throw Charlotte Flair in there because Charlotte Flair has to be in that big of a match. And they'll probably throw Lacey Evans in there too to make it a fatal 4-way. No. You want to stretch this out? Give these 2 women a title reign until SummerSlam. Then give Bayley and Becky Lynch those title runs until SummerSlam and give us an undisputed women's champion, of course, probably Becky Lynch. And there's that. 12 women not being used because of this wild card rule. Back to Aleister Black. NXT has proven to be quite a breeding ground for fresh new talent for WWE. Recently, an influx of talent debuted on the main roster. One of those debuting stars was former NXT champion Aleister Black. Black joined fellow superstar Sheamus on his Celtic Warrior workout to talk about his career and his current move. Yeah, an influx of talent. Let's see. Nikki Cross, barely getting used, but getting used finally. The only positive thing right now to me with Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross is the fact that Nikki Cross is actually getting TV time. But Nikki Cross, Nikki Cross, EC3, Otis Dozovich and Tucker Knight, Lars Sullivan, Lacey Evans. Barely, every one of those are being used now somewhat, but EC3. Then you brought up Ricochet, Aleister Black, Jordan Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa. Tommaso Ciampa, broken neck, messed up neck, had to go get surgery, he's gone. And, I want to say, Johnny Gargano's back in NXT where he belongs. Ricochet is being 50, after a strong showing between Elimination Chamber and right after WrestleMania, is being 50-50 booked and not doing anything. I'm hoping that there will be a 6-pack challenge or a fatal 5-way this week on Raw. The winner faces Samoa Joe at Stomping Grounds, because that would be an awesome way to get Ricochet a big win, and then he goes to Stomping Grounds to probably get beat by Samoa Joe, but also give Samoa Joe a great match. I don't want to see anyone else come up from NXT, for the simple fact is they're not going to use him half the time. They're just now barely using everybody but EC3. Now, he said, and I quote, "I was born in Amsterdam. I got into wrestling at the age of 4 or 5. I didn't watch WWE until later. I watched Japanese-style wrestling, European-style wrestling, and WCW. It wasn't until I was 15 or 16 that I saw my first WWE pay-per-view, and I was very confused. I thought there was only one organization. Later on, I learned there were many, many promotions going. Basically, because I was seeing faces, I saw different companies in WWE. I thought they changed their name. To me, as a kid, it looked like two people fighting," Black explained. "So in my child's mind, I was like, I need to do this. My parents signed me up for karate, kung fu, jiu-jitsu, because I thought that was what they were doing. It's when I started kickboxing, I realized this is not what they were practicing at all." Black was quick to admit that his time in NXT was short, which actually, for 2 years is not really short, but short anyway. And as short as his time, the notice of his call-out was that much shorter. "I wasn't scheduled to be called up. It was a last-minute decision," which we all know that. It was just because the ratings were going down at the beginning. The ratings were dropping during WrestleMania weekend, WrestleMania season. The time when WWE's ratings usually go up, the excitement for WrestleMania gets the ratings back. It wasn't happening. The ratings were falling and falling and falling. And Vince McMahon's like, we need to think outside of the box. Get me 4 guys from NXT. Get me those guys, Aleister Black, Ricochet, Gargano, and Ciampa." That's Vince McMahon for you. I was just done with a workout, and it was 11:30, and I didn't have to be at the live event until 1, so I was going to take a 45-minute nap. I had my phone by me, and my phone starts to go off, and it's Coach Bloom. He said, I have some news for you. And as a joke, I said, are you firing me? That's a funny joke, actually. And he said something like that. This Sunday, you're flying to Tennessee, so the debut could be kept a secret. And this Monday, you will make your debut on Raw, and Tuesday on SmackDown. There you go. Not surprised. Everything's a last-minute decision in this company. A company that, when Monday Night Raw is going on the air, they're shuffling things around to try and make things better for you to be able to watch the show. There are times when the script isn't done until the first hour, until Raw is already on the air. This is not a surprise. Gargano, Ciampa, Ricochet, and Black were supposed to be up here. The only reason, in my opinion, Ricochet and Black got lumped together in a tag team, which they were a pretty good tag team in my opinion, was because the DIY tag team couldn't be kept up on the main roster due to Ciampa's injury. It's just, I found that funny though. As a joke, he asked him if he was firing him. I'm sorry, I did not read this portion. I did not read this because I like to read and give my reaction. My reaction. I find the articles, I zip through and I copy and paste them. I don't skim, I don't read them. So if I have a reaction, it's natural on here. But that's kind of funny. But it's not surprising. WWE, Vince McMahon has no plans for anybody coming up from NXT. Why call people up if you have no plans? If Charlotte Flair didn't pull her weight around in Andrade and Andrade Cien Almas and Zelina Vega would have stayed on Monday Night Raw, Aleister Black would have stayed on Monday Night Raw, we probably still see Black and Ricochet as a tag team. They had no plans for these guys coming up, and they still have no plans for them to this day. Rey Mysterio. This is update to when he may return. At Money in the Bank, Rey Mysterio became a Grand Slam champion by winning the U.S. title. However, he had to relinquish the title 2 weeks later due to suffering an injury from post-match beatdown by Samoa Joe. Mysterio spoke with Wrestling Inc. on their Win CLY podcast about how he's doing physically and when he plans on returning. He said, and I quote, "An unfortunate thing happened in the ring at Money in the Bank. When you're in there full action and full adrenaline, you have an idea of the referee's count or if he's even aware of the opponent is grabbing ropes while he's down doing the pin. 9 out of 10 times the referee's right on the spot, but he wasn't in this occasion," said Mysterio. I find that to be bullshit because the referee, if you go back and watch the video footage, slow it down, whatever, to me, it looked like the referee is counting, but he's looking at Samoa Joe and just counting 1, 2, 3, making complete eye contact with both of Joe's shoulders. So there's no excuse for the fact that that referee counted that pinfall with both of Joe's shoulders up. When I saw the replay, I saw that Joe's left shoulder was off the canvas during the 3 count due to the unfortunate aftermath after winning the title. I suffered a separated left shoulder that has put me on the bench, so I've been doing some PRP and slight rotation movements. I was trying to see if I could be back in possibly late June or July. It was unusual for Joe to be given back the U.S. title instead of it being declared vacant, and Mysterio explained why that happened. He said, "I couldn't defend the title, so there was no point in me keeping the title. Also, once I saw the 3 count and that his shoulder was up like anyone else would say, that's not my call, that's the ref's call, but I'd like to work on the right side of things. I clearly didn't win the title the way I would have loved to have won it, so the best thing is to return it, get better, heal up, and ask for another title shot." Joe and Mysterio also faced off at WrestleMania, though if you blinked, then you would have missed the match. Their U.S. title match lasted just 1 minute due to the time concerns, and Rey Mysterio weighed in on that short match, which it actually, it got cut short pretty much because Triple H had to have a huge long-ass match against Dave Bautista. Triple H does not need it at WrestleMania anymore. Give that time to other young stars, young people trying to get up in this company. Enough of Triple H at WrestleMania. Man, those shows are crazy, Mysterio said at WrestleMania. It seems every year that they get longer and longer. But that's the risk of you take sometimes. It was an unfortunate matter, but it's not the end of the world for me. I've given plenty of great matches in my career where I don't think the fans have missed anything. Many suggested the WrestleMania be split up into 2 nights or multiple shows, and Rey Mysterio gave his opinion on lengthy Mania shows. it's not a bad idea. So to do a pre-WrestleMania show, maybe on the same day, and just start a little bit earlier. Give the first 5-6 matches to the kickoff Mania. Have a break in between. Sell some merchandise, and then move on to the big show. I disagree with that 110%. Not everybody has to be on WrestleMania. They don't. WrestleMania is supposed to be for the biggest built storylines between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. That is the winner of the Royal Rumble, the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble. You don't have to, and you also don't have to have every single championship on the line. We should have between 8 to 9 matches, like not even that, 7 to 8, 6 to 7 matches, 6 to 7 matches, maybe 8 if you want to do that, whatever. And if you really want to stretch to 4 hours, you could have 8 matches, 30 minutes each, and that's 2 matches an hour. There you go, or something like that. And you can have like the Hall of Fame thing in between. You can have a concert, which you've had a couple times at WrestleMania. WrestleMania does not need to be this long. They only go this long and they put this many matches on there because Vince McMahon wants the time. He wants the time of live content on the WWE Network to be up. He doesn't want it just to be pre-taped content. That's why 205 Live went back to being live instead of pre-taped before SmackDown, which it should be. Crowd is night and day. Even though this past episode's 205 Live, I guess, was pretty, heavy. Like, the crowd was in it completely. And Bayley said something about it. Ali said something about it. But, yeah. This is not something I want to see. Hope Rey Mysterio gets back as soon as he can, but please do something with him. I don't know whether, and it would not surprise me if Rey Mysterio comes back on the way to SummerSlam and we see Dominic being brought back, because Rey Mysterio wants this storyline with Dominic to see an end, and quite honestly, Rey Mysterio is at an age where I don't think it's going to work out well for him unless it's just a match between him and Dominic. I don't know. But if they want to do something with Dominic and they want to try and get him to be in the WWE system, I don't care who your father is, you need to go down to NXT and be brought up that way. I don't want to see Dominic on main roster television if that's what they're leading to for at least a couple years, maybe more. WWE trying to convince superstars their career is over if they leave WWE. This is absolute bullshit, and they should try and stop. There are said to be a lot of WWE talent who are counting down the days until they can get out of the WWE contracts. I wouldn't blame them, would you? Would you blame them? Would you blame superstars who aren't being used like a Luke Harper or a Sasha Banks, an Apollo Crews, a Chad Gable, EC3? Would you blame them for not being used and then wanting to stay with WWE? There have been rumors that WWE talent wanted to leave for months, but Dave Meltzer noted on the Wrestling Observer Radio that AEW putting on a successful show with Dave Meltzer has really changed things. On a related note, the chief brand officer, Stephanie McMahon, was in Orlando this week for a business luncheon. She also visited the WWE Performance Center and Wednesday's NXT tapings at Full Sail University. She held a talent meeting before Wednesday's tapings, which she described as a pep talk. Stephanie reportedly pushed how great everything is with the company and how talents get their own brands in the company. Bullshit. Bullshit. Hold on. Presentation included a big screen, and that Forbes show listed WWE and WrestleMania as one of the 10 most powerful brands on social media, among other parts. That is bullshit. It says she pushed social media in a big way. Really? What brands? You just had Jessie Ellenbaugh. I'm just gonna put this out there. Jessie Ellenbaugh. Her Twitter handle used to be The Jessie Show. Now it's Jessie Kamea WWE. That's not her brand. That's WWE's brand. Aleister Black is WWE at WWE Aleister. That's not his brand. That's WWE. Nobody has a brand unless you have WWE's name beside it. Nobody. It's just ridiculous. It was also noted on Wrestling Observer Radio that WWE is trying to convince talent that their careers are over if they leave. Talent have believed this in previous years, but most aren't buying it these days. And honestly, with or without AEW, it's not true. Look at New Japan. Jon Moxley was going to leave WWE no matter what. He's in New Japan. He is the current United States heavyweight champion over there. Yes, he's probably not making as much as he will on his AEW contract, but He's having better opportunities. He's going to be in the G1 Climax. He's going to do what WWE would not do. He's going to do things that WWE would never let him do. That video he posted made him a bigger name than he ever was in WWE. There's also no, let's see, but most of them, like, these days, and a lot of wrestlers who are happy that they made that decision. Meltzer noted that WWE is also trying to convince fans that if WWE, it's WWE or nothing, and that wrestlers are jokes if they aren't in WWE. Meltzer pointed that to the enhancement talents with the Yolo County Tag Team titles on Tuesday, which was featured in the angle with Heavy Machinery and Tag Team Champions Daniel Bryan and Rowan. Yeah, they're trying to convince us that Cody Rhodes is a joke, even though Cody Rhodes is one of the biggest success stories of leaving WWE. Everyone talks about Jon Moxley turning this thing around and making people see. No, people in the WWE have been seeing that with Cody, but of course with Cody, it was the fact that he had the name, he knew what he was doing, his father is Dusty Rhodes, he knew that he would do, he took a chance on himself and he succeeded. Jon Moxley took a chance on himself and he's succeeding. Mercedes KV, when she leaves WWE, is going to take on a chance on herself and she is probably going to succeed. Brody Lee is going to probably take a chance on himself and he will probably succeed. Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows will probably take a chance on themselves and they will succeed. Let me see else here. The Revival will probably take a chance on themselves and they will probably succeed. WWE is not the end-all be-all, and it's been like this for at least 2, 3, 4 years. WWE stopped being the end-all be-all when independent wrestling came up to the rise and New Japan started getting a foot in the United States and Ring of Honor started being a second option for most. Now, this is also why Vince McMahon has been mandated that they sign as many talent as they can, so other people can't get them. I'm hoping talent who are out there in the world are starting to realize that WWE is not the end-all be-all, and signing with them is not a good idea. For example, Joey Ryan. Joey Ryan has been courted by WWE to sign a contract with them and be a player coach. He would be a wrestler and he would coach, and after a year or two, he would retire and be a coach down in the Performance Center. He told them no. He pretty much told them, fuck you. Joey Ryan, on the independents himself, makes more money in the independents than the people in NXT on a base salary. Why the fuck would he give up what he does in the independents to go work for WWE? He's making more money with his own brand, his own name. By the way, if he went to WWE, that brand that he has, the guy with the penis shit and all that, that would be gone. His brand would be dead. Absolutely dead. So, and yes, a guy like an Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Keith Lee, Roderick Strong, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, they get to keep their name, so yeah, they have a brand. But Damian Priest was Punish Martinez. Jesse Ellenball became Jesse Kamea. Eric Bugenhagen, which I don't know if that's his actual name or not, he's now Rick Boogiz, which is how you say it, Rick Boogiz. They changed your name so you don't have a brand, because once you leave WWE, that brand stays in WWE. So anybody who's trying to go to WWE, I'd hold off, because you're just going to be sitting there for weeks, months, days, months, weeks, maybe even years, doing nothing. They'll change your name. You won't have a brand. You won't have your own brand anymore. Aleister Black used to be Tommy End. Kevin Owens used to be Kevin Steen. Sami Zayn used to be El Generico. Seth Rollins used to be Tyler Black. They had their own brand, their own name, and WWE didn't want to use them. And Hanson and Rowe were Hanson and Rowe for years. They come to NXT. They had to change War Machine, I think, because of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, with War Machine being one of the fixtures of the MCU. So I think that's why they had to change it to War Raiders. It was due to that. And then they come up and they have their names, and the names changed again. The tag team name changed again, twice, and their names changed. So they don't even have their own brand. So when they leave WWE eventually, they're not going to be able to be Eric and Ivar, the Vikings Raiders. They'll be the War Raiders again. The War Machine again. My bad. War Machine. So anybody who thinks that the WWE is the end-all be-all, if you're a fan and you're that stupid to think that WWE is the end-all be-all, even if AEW doesn't fucking work out, it's not true. Independence is at the best it's ever been. New Japan is actually very viable for some people. Ring of Honor is doing good business. Impact Wrestling, even though it's not good on TV, is doing okay business. But WWE is not it anymore. It's not. 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, yeah. WWE also didn't help this cause and help their own cause when they started doing the WrestleMania weekend with all that stuff, because that's where independent wrestling comes together to put on multiple shows, so fans who can't get to like a takeover or the Hall of Fame, if they don't want to go to the Hall of Fame, they can go to other shows. Maybe they don't want to go to WrestleMania Access. They can go to a show or 2 or 3. WWE kind of hurt themselves by helping. WWE, in the end, hurt themselves and allowed independent wrestling to grow on the back of WrestleMania. Think about that and let that sink in. Backstage news on the TakeOver Toronto card. TakeOver Toronto 2. WWE SummerSlam is not far away from being marked off wrestling fans' calendars, and with that almost comes a usually exciting NXT. More exciting than SummerSlam NXT TakeOver. And this one may have some extra spice when the Black and Yellow brand holds their signature event up north in Toronto this coming summer. The Twitter account WrestleVotes has shared the following information for a reported source of NXT creative plans when the event coincides with WWE's second biggest letdown of the year. Tonight's the final taping. This was on Thursday. Tonight's the final 8 tapings for NXT prior to the TakeOver Toronto event SummerSlam weekend. While I don't know the details yet, sources say the NXT creative team is thrilled with the card they are putting out. It seems as if Triple H went all out for this show, pun intended. You're damn straight they are. Just 3 weeks, I believe, 3 weeks after this show goes off the air, they're going to have NXT TakeOver Cardiff, which is UK TakeOver Cardiff, which is going to be a bad idea, and then All Out happens later in that night. They want people to be talking about NXT TakeOver and be like, say, this is the best damn show, and whatever they do at All Out is not going to match it. I hate to tell you, but Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho versus Hangman Page for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship is going to probably be what people are going to be talking about. Yes, TakeOver 25 was better than Double or Nothing. It was. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But of all the shows that are going to be happening in August, from SummerSlam, TakeOver Toronto, Royal Quest, TakeOver Cardiff, and All Out and TakeOver 25, TakeOver Toronto are probably going to be the 2 biggest shows of the month. You would think Raw SmackDown would be better when Vince McMahon and crew is not there. No. McMahon family missed Raw and SmackDown Live this week. It's interesting that Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, and Kevin Dunn were all absent from this week's Raw and SmackDown tapings in California, according to the Wrestling Observer. This may be the first time all 4 top officials are not present. Stephanie is not a regular at TV these days and only comes when she's needed, which hasn't been the case as of late. Triple H decided to make the trip to Florida since they were back-to-back days of WWE NXT tapings at Full Sail, probably to, iron out the last few details before the tapings actually went into production, because you don't want to have let's just go to these tapings and then have something fuck up. So probably just ironing out the last few details, especially if there were championship title changes, like the debut of Damian Priest, heel turns, face turns, anything like that. Triple H felt that he needed to be in Florida for NXT TakeOver Toronto Bill to help get everything ready. Vince was not there because he had some quote-unquote corporate items that he felt needed to take care of. Dunn doesn't come to TV without his master being there. But it makes you really wonder what Kevin Dunn and Vince McMahon are doing when they're not at TV. I've also heard that Vince McMahon doesn't travel to California. He doesn't like going to that side of the country. Which, if you're from California, I'm pretty sure you're thankful that you don't have to smell that stench of that reek of failure coming from behind gorilla position. WWE head writer Ed Koskey was said to be running around like crazy at Monday Night Raw, kind of in control, it was said. Dana Warrior, who has recently started working with WWE creative team, was also there. She works hands-on with Lacey Evans. There's no word yet if Lacey Evans is a project of Warriors, but Warrior works heavily with Evans on her promos. There you go. I could see Lacey Evans getting help from Dana Warrior. Her promos still are cringe as fuck. I don't know what it is, but Lacey Evans just sucks all around. She's trying to be this Southern Belle. I don't buy her for one bit. I don't buy anything that comes out of her mouth. It also doesn't help for the fact that the night after WrestleMania is where she punched Becky Lynch with her woman's right, and Becky no-sold it. Becky's just standing there. She comes down. Lacey Evans punches her once in the face, and Becky Lynch no-sold that move. That right there kills any believability that she has when the champion doesn't sell it for 1 second. So, I don't care really, but it just shows that they're going to have somebody who's actually a leader, and obviously head writer Ed Koskey is not a leader. I'm sure Triple H is there. It would have been a better show. But Triple H very good. Hey, we have 2 straight days of tapings. This is going to be the final build towards TakeOver Toronto, and I want to make sure this shit goes off great. So I'm going to go spend my time where I'm needed when Monday Night Raw is just another shit show, and even Triple H knows that. Alrighty, I did flash it earlier, but Stomping Ground tickets, plenty more left. Look at this. This is on Ticketmaster. This is the stadium for WWE Stomping Grounds. The blue is seats available. The gray is they are sold out. Of course, those are the cheap seats. Those are the seats that that sell real fast. They do have one side for hard cam. So what it says 7 is probably going to be the hard cam side. So it's going to be the side that we see for Stomping Grounds. Well, all those people are going to be pulled down, and they're going to tape off everything else. 28 seats are still available for first ever WWE Stomping Ground pay-per-view, according to Ticketmaster, as you see. As of right now, they are still available at 27, 37, 57, 77, 92, 152, 227, 352, 502, and $652. There are just a handful of $502 left in seat 2, and just 2 of the $652 seats. We're running low interest for the pay-per-view. The two common themes on social media are how fans are saying they wouldn't want to dish out top dollar for matches they could see on WWE TV, or cards for rematches, and how nothing on Raw or SmackDown excites them enough to want to attend a pay-per-view right now. Stomping Grounds will take place from the Tacoma Dome in Tacoma, Washington. The arena has capacity of 23,000, but WWE will likely set up for somewhere between 10,000 and 20,000. The arena seats 10,000 for football events, 19,100 for hockey events, and just over 20,000 for basketball and indoor soccer events. This is just ridiculous right here. This is what WWE has going for them. I guarantee you, if AEW said, we're coming to the Tacoma Dome for Fyter Fest or something, I guarantee you this thing would have sold out instantly. But it's Stomping Grounds. Nobody wants to go see a pay-per-view. Nobody wants to go see a pay-per-view in which you have Baron Corbin versus Seth Rollins, most likely the main event. Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. I would rather go eat paint than watch that match. I'd rather go watch paint dry than watch that match. Alexa Bliss versus Bayley, which is a rematch of 2017's feud between those two. Who the fuck wants to see that again? Lacey Evans versus Becky Lynch, which was an awful match at Money in the Bank. Lacey Evans had one of the worst matches of the year against Charlotte Flair, either the night after, I believe it was the night or the week after Money in the Bank. Why the fuck would anybody want to see her against Becky Lynch again? Who did she have to sleep with to get that title shot? Somebody tell me. Because she's obviously not talented. She's obviously not good in the ring. She's greener than the grass outside my window. Absolutely pathetic. So yeah, if you want to find a place to go, if you want to find a wrestling event, or if you just want to, be not mind-numbingly bored, here you go. The Tacoma Dome is completely still selling, and as you can see in this picture, there is a thing up here for quantity. You cannot buy single tickets on this. You cannot buy single tickets. You cannot buy single tickets on Ticketmaster for this event. They're trying to sell these at 2 tickets each. You have to buy 2 tickets or more for this event, and that's absolutely sad, man. Sad. Ugh. Get that out of here. POS posting cryptic social media posts. WWE Superstar has been posting several videos on his personal YouTube channel in last week, which have fueled speculation surrounding his status in WWE. Rush last appeared on WWE for April 15th episode, and his status has been up in the air after reports of backstage heat over his attitude and the minor incident in the locker room. It was also reported that Rush turned down a contract offer and asked for more money. There has been speculation on Rush getting sent back to WWE's NXT or 205 Live, but there have been no recent updates on the situation. Rush last appeared in the WWE storylines as the mouthpiece for Bobby Lashley. Sorely missed because Bobby Lashley can't cut a promo to save his fucking life. Rush, but there is no explanation given on their split and when Rush was taken off TV. There you go. The video titled Day 64 at WWE starts off with Rush saying, "Maybe the facts of the matter is I've already made my choice." Rush then goes on to talk to the camera about dreaming of being on top as a kid, his purpose and more. And we're not exactly sure what Rush got the Day 64 talk from, but it's been close to 64 days since his last appearance on WWE right now at 59. He's just been posting them, and it's something that it's like, Leo Rush has had a bad attitude backstage. He should have never been taken out of NXT, plain and simple. He needed to stay in NXT so he could get those, so he could be mature. He is a 21, 22 year old kid. Yes, he is still a kid. I'm not making a short joke or anything. A guy acts like a fucking kid backstage from reports. Dude, I know he wants to do right by his family, his kids, his wife. Good for him. That's good on him. But you got to have respect for those who came before you. You go out there, and if somebody asks you to do something, quite honestly, it's like, oh well, I don't want to. Like he was like saying, I didn't want the perception of a young black man carrying bags for a white guy like Finn Balor. And I'm like, wait a minute, dude. Go watch New Japan. Go watch that stuff. They have these things called Young Lions. And they do everything the talent that's already on the big roster has them to do. They carry bags, they do laundry, they do all this other, they do like wash dishes, they do whatever they can to, pay respect to those who came before them. You should probably go to when his contract runs out, he should probably, in my opinion, go to the LA dojo or the actual dojo in Japan and learn under those guys to get some respect into this guy, because this guy has no respect for anybody outside of himself, his wife, and his kids. And you wonder why nobody likes this, and nobody in WWE likes this guy. He made a bad impression when he made fun of Emma being fired. He's had backstage disruptions. This guy would have been great for WWE. He is talented. His matches with the Velveteen Dream in NXT, his matches on 205 Live are good. He is great at what he does in the ring. It's just his outside of the ring attitude and etiquette that is hurting him, and the reason why they don't want to use him anymore. Leo Rush is his own worst enemy. I don't think he's going to be in WWE again, and I'm sure they're just waiting for his contract to expire. Only thing I hope is that this dude learns to respect the business and respect those who are in the business. The dude's got talent, and quite honestly, I could see him possibly going somewhere. Like, I don't know if AEW would pick the guy up. I think he is talented, and the guy should be better off than he is, and it's his own goddamn fault that he's where he's at. NXT star out with injury. This one I hope is not going to be a big deal, but it could be. NXT superstar Kyle O'Reilly took to Twitter and yesterday and announced that he had been pulled from the UK Download Festival due to back injury. He said, and I quote, "The medical man told me my back is still hurt, so unfortunately I won't be able to attend Download Fest this year. I'm sorry to all the great UK fans. Believe me, I am gutted to be missing Tool, but at least now Rick Bruges has an actual chance of winning the Erica contest," O'Reilly wrote. O'Reilly appeared on Wednesday's NXT tapings from Full Sail University and did a run-in at one point, but it looks like he did not get physical during that angle. Wednesday's tapings also saw the Undisputed Era work a six-man match, but O'Reilly was not involved as Cole, Roderick Strong, and Bobby Fish teamed up. I'm not going to spoil anything about the matches or anything. This is just what it is. Roderick Strong, he also appeared at last Thursday's tapings, but did not get physical. There's no word yet on when O'Reilly will be back in action, but he is scheduled for matches late in he's scheduled to return to action sometime in late August, so hopefully he'll be back in time for TakeOver Toronto. If the Undisputed Era gets a chance at the tag team titles, we'll have to wait and see. One thing that's great about NXT is that this could be a minor back injury. He's out for maybe a month and a half, and by the time the Undisputed Era and Street Profits are going to be happening at TakeOver Toronto, and he's able to go back and be off TV. They still use him. He may have got physical, maybe he didn't get physical. We'll have to wait and see. But it sucks. He last wrestled at TakeOver 25 event on June 1st. He participated in the Fatal 4-Way ladder match that saw the Street Profits capture the vacant NXT Tag Team titles. While the NXT UK brand has announced the main WWE attraction for Download Fest this year, several superstars from the main NXT brand were also announced. O'Reilly, Matt Riddle, NXT Champion Anna Cole, and NXT Women's Champion Shayna Baszler. They were added to the shows at the initial announcement. NXT UK will run the Download Fest Friday, which was yesterday, today, and Sunday. They will have regular matches, as well as NXT UK tapings for the WWE Network show. NXT UK will tape more episodes in Plymouth, England on Wednesday and Thursday of next week. Kyle O'Reilly, I hope you get better, but after what happened at NXT TakeOver 25, I am not surprised this dude got injured to the point where he can't wrestle. His back went through he went through so much in that match, it was not even funny. Honestly, I thought this guy was going to be crippled after that show was done because he took a beating in that match. And now he's going to be sidelined for at least, hopefully, only a couple weeks, and hopefully by the time TakeOver comes around, if he's in any match or if he's being used in an angle to help Adam Cole keep his title, hopefully he'll be able to be used and won't have to miss a TakeOver, which I know somebody like him probably would be gutted if he had to miss TakeOver. Moving over to some AEW news before we finish off this episode of Unscripted. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitter and YouTube at Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and everything at the Fronts Club. Alright, AEW news. AEW's Fyter Fest is coming up in about 14 days, 2 weeks. We will have Fyter Fest where we see Joey Janela versus Jon Moxley, Darby Allin versus Cody Rhodes. We'll have the Elite of Kenny Omega, the OG Elite, I should say, the OG Elite of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros, and who the hell knows, because that has not happened yet. We don't know who they're going to be teaming with. And a couple more matches as well. CM Punk, on if he is AEW bound. CM Punk took to Twitter a couple days ago and responded to a fan asking if he will show up up on the AEW program. The fan asked if the former WWE champion will disappoint his fans by not going to work for All Elite Wrestling. For what it's worth, Punk responded with a simple yes. There's been a lot of speculation on Punk possibly returning to the world of professional wrestling to work for AEW. President Tony Khan has also stated that Punk was his first choice to start a pro wrestling organization with before he got involved with the guys from the Elite. AEW All Out pay-per-view will take place in Chicago in late August, adding to the speculation of Punk possibly debuting then just in time for weekly TV show on TNT. No, here's the thing. CM Punk, if he is going to make his debut for AEW TV, that should be the very first episode of AEW TV. All Out should be all about the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. That is what we should be talking about. That and Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega. Those should be the two biggest matches. They are in Chicago. If CM Punk comes back in Chicago and comes to All Elite Wrestling's All Out show, that's going to diminish everything else that they do on that show because he is just going to be that big of a name. It's going to, especially, here's the thing, it's going to be people like, oh, he should come out after the world title match and like do what Jon Moxley did at Double or Nothing and attack the world champion. No. The show should go off the air with the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, whether that's Chris Jericho, most likely Chris Jericho, and Hangman Page celebrating to either thunderous applause or a bunch of boos. There should be nothing that takes away from the AEW Championship. This is the first title match for this championship. There should be nothing there should be nothing in this company that should be bigger than that championship. CM Punk on that show would mean, hey, he's bigger than the AEW Championship, and you don't want that. WWE has already gone out and said that Roman Reigns is bigger than both the Universal Championship and the WWE Championship by calling him the measuring stick. You don't want that coming out of All Out. You want it to be the AEW Championship being the most talked about thing, and the second most talked about thing is Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega. They want CM Punk, and if CM Punk's going to make a return, the AEW TV first episode would be perfect timing. It's in Chicago, and everyone's like, "Oh, the stars on the on All Out proves that CM Punk's coming back." No, those are the stars from the flag of Chicago. CM Punk is a native of Chicago. That's why he wore them on his wrestling gear. You dumbasses. But Cody Rhodes does say the door is always open for CM Punk. All Elite Wrestling Executive Vice President Cody Rhodes recently spoke with comicbook.com and discussed speculation of CM Punk possibly returning to pro wrestling to work for the new company. There has been a lot of speculation on Punk signing with AEW ever since the promotion was announced. Tony Khan, of course, wants Punk to be the first choice to build a company. The speculation ramped up when AEW's big all-out pay-per-view was announced on Saturday, August 1st from Punk's hometown of Chicago. Cody says AEW would do anything they can to bring Punk in if he wants to come in, but they are focused on building the stars that AEW already has, which you should be doing as well. CM Punk is not they need to build the young stars. Yes, Chris Jericho's there. Yes, Kenny's there. Young Bucks are there. Jon Moxley's there. But who the hell is Jungle Boy? Who the hell is MJF? Who the hell is Adam Hangman Page to a lot of these guys? Who the hell is Luchasaurus? Who the hell is Jimmy Havoc to a lot of these people? You need to build those stars, not keep bringing in old stars. Last year, something with All In that we noticed is that the actual show there wasn't a single CM Punk chant. Cody said, "I thought, great, okay, it's not that they didn't like CM Punk, but they know that we're here and we're putting on this show. This year, I don't expect anything different. I've been very honest about that. The door remains open. The fans have never given up on CM Punk, and if they wanted to be part of the AEW, we would do anything in our power to make him a part of it. I have been 25 to 30 brand. I have about 25 to 35 brand new stars like Jungle Boy, MJF, Kylie Ray, Britt Baker. If I was to spend all my time in trying to recruit just one CM Punk, I would be doing a disservice to them." Exactly right. I felt in the past that my own career that a disservice that has happened to me on occasion about putting someone ahead of me. You always hear the discussion of part-timers, this and that. I don't want to get too far there, but I want to make AEW about performers. We have. Cody also commented about his history with Punk and said the door remains open for Punk to come in. Cody added that the focus for All Out is to Chris Jericho, Hangman, Adam Page match to crown the first ever AEW World Heavyweight Champion. He said the door was forever open. He was very good to me in OVW. He was a great person to learn from in the ring. I had a good relationship with him. The door will remain open, but for All Out, the main focus is and should be Adam Page and Chris Jericho to determine the very first AEW Heavyweight Champion. Yes, again, that should be the focus. If CM Punk shows up on that episode at All Out, that takes away from the World Heavyweight Championship. They didn't need him at All In. They didn't need him in Double or Nothing. They don't need him for Fyter Fest. They don't need him for Fight for the Fallen. They sure as hell don't need him for All Out. And here's the thing. CM Punk would be a part-timer. A part-timer that you would see once in a blue moon. If he won a championship, he would be a Brock Lesnar type guy, and I don't want that. This should be about the new generation. Yes, Chris Jericho is probably going to be the first AEW heavyweight champion because it's all about the chase for Kenny Omega or Jon Moxley or somebody else. All about the chase for them. CM Punk, they do not need CM Punk. They've got enough star power, in my opinion. They need to build new stars because Chris Jericho might have a 3-year contract, but he might not be wrestling for all 3 years. He might wrestle rest of this year, all of 2020, and be like, you know what? I'm calling it a career, but I'm going to do other things backstage for AEW. We don't know that. Or maybe he retires during that 3rd year. We'll have to wait and see. But this is not something that you want to see them do. We want to see AEW build new stars. You use the guys like Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, the Lucha Bros, Cody Rhodes, to get younger guys over in the long run. Because Cody's not going to be wrestling for the rest of his life. The Young Bucks are not going to be wrestling for the rest of their life. Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley might be only wrestling for the next, like most of them, for the next 4 or 5 years. And then you need to build guys who are going to be there after they are just backstage and being the guys running the show. Speaking of Fyter Fest, it's going to air free on Bleacher Report, and I believe it's going to be on Fight TV as well for outside the UK, outside of the United States. All Elite Wrestling Executive Vice President Kenny Omega appeared at the E3 Electronic Gaming Convention on Monday and confirmed that AEW's Fyter Fest event will air live and free online. Omega noted that the company wants to help introduce new fans to the product. He did not specify where the event will air, but the online promotional material for the event includes Bleacher Report Live's logo, and the BR Live website has Fyter Fest listed on their schedule. It was then confirmed that BR Live would be to air the event at 8 p.m. that night, but now we know that it will be streaming free. Fyter Fest from AEW and CEO Gaming will take place on Saturday, June 29th in Daytona Beach, Florida. Tickets will go on sale Wednesday, noon, 12 p.m. Eastern. They went on sale. I don't know if it was a sellout, but they are on sale if they are not. The following matches are there. Michael Nakazawa versus Alex Bailey, which is going to be a pre-show hardcore match. That's going to be a comedy match for anybody who wants to see it. The Elite, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega versus Rey Fenix, Pentagon Jr., and a mystery partner. Cody Rhodes versus Darby Allin. Joey Janela versus Jon Moxley. Adam Hangman Page versus MJF versus Jungle Boy versus Jimmy Havoc. This was from Being the Elite, where Adam Page wanted a match with MJF, and the connection was so bad with him, and I believe, in one of the Young Bucks, that it was originally going to be Adam Page versus Jungle Boy, Adam Page versus Jimmy Havoc, and then they made it a fatal 4-way. So the 4 guys who were in that world title presentation, the show with Bret Hart, those 4 guys are going to mix it up at Fyter Fest. Should be a great match. Can't wait to see. Also on this show, SoCal Uncensored versus Oriental and Wrestling Entertainment Feud will continue at Fyter Fest as Christopher Daniels battles Shima in a singles match. So that has been added, as well as Nyla Rose, Riho, and Yuka Sakazaki. So that is your card right there. So Fyter Fest looks to be a good show. I hope we don't get any more matches because we quite honestly don't need any more matches. There's 6 matches on the main card, and then the Alex Bailey and Michael Nakazawa match, but who cares? That's just a comedy match, and I'm not into comedy wrestling, so I'm just going to probably skip the pre-show and get ready for the regular show. Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega has been announced, making it a 2-match show, and that show, All Out, sold out in 15 minutes. All Out Wrestling has announced the All Out pay-per-view 2 already sold out. The pay-per-view reportedly sold out in under just 15 minutes. Fans noted in social media how they were met with messages for long wait times, indicating that some fans were not able to get tickets before the show sold out. In my opinion, they could have went to United Center or even Soldier Field and sold these tickets. Here's the problem. Yeah, they sold out in 15 minutes. You know where half of those tickets went? There was a fucking scumbag. I saw it on the timeline for this, I think it was the Young Bucks. I think it was Matt Jackson's Twitter page, and he put out 15 minutes. That's awesome. And so in that timeline, you saw a scumbag be like, "I have 8 tickets. I had no intention of going, but I got 8 tickets." A friend of mine used 4 different PCs to buy these tickets. I'm going to sell them for $400 a piece. Scumbags who are scalpers, go fuck yourself. What Ticketmaster needs to do to prevent this? What Ticketmaster needs to do to prevent this is not an IP address. They need to IP tag anybody. So if you buy tickets on one PC in that IP address, that's all you're getting. You don't get to go and buy use 4 different computers. You can get one computer and that is it. Here's the thing, guess it was 20,000 or 80,000 people trying different type of people trying to get tickets for this, and they've only gone to see a center. Honestly, All Out is fine in the Sears Center, I guess, but they have already got people sold on this that they honestly could have gone to the United Center and sold that thing out, had more tickets, because I think that's a 20,000 seat arena. Honestly, I want to see what happens when they go to a place that has a bigger capacity, because all of these shows, All In last year, Double or Nothing, Fight for the Fallen, I'm not counting CEO and that stuff because that's just a small arena. That's already a small arena anyway. It's going to be part of a gaming convention, but Fight for the Fallen, I believe too, and All Out were all in small arenas. They need to actually go and expand this, and whatever the next pay-per-view is going to be, which probably won't be until January, maybe December. They need to go to a bigger arena because they're selling out in no time. And they're selling out, and a lot of people who want to go to these shows are not getting them. They could have sold out, I'm telling you, they could have sold out the United Center. There's people saying they could have sold out Soldier Field with how many people wanted to buy tickets. And they probably could have. But I don't know what they're going to do for the next pay-per-view. Let's get through Fyter Fest, let's get through Fight for the Fallen, and then let's get to All Out. All Out is obviously going to be the biggest one because they've not really, other than the Ali versus Randy Rhodes match, the Young Bucks versus Cody, the Young Bucks versus the Rhodes brothers, and there was a third match, right? Team Up versus Kenny Omega, I believe, is all we have for Fight for the Fallen. That's 2 weeks, I believe, after Fyter Fest. So I don't know what they're going to do for building that card. Maybe we'll get something out of Fyter Fest. I don't expect to see Chris Jericho there. I do not expect to see, at Fyter Fest, I do not expect to see Jon Moxley for the simple fact that he's going to be part of the G1, and that's going to be something that's going to be taking place around that time, so he's probably not going to have time to do both the G1 and Fight for the Fallen. I could be totally wrong. We'll have to wait and see. But that is your Unscripted for episode 74 for June 15th, 2019. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitch and Twitter at the France Club, and I will see you guys Monday, hopefully Monday Night Raw. I shouldn't even say hopefully, because quite honestly, it's getting to a point where it's just end it all. We'll see what happens. Until then, my name is Franz, and I'll see you guys later.